was a typo, and I'm like, welcome to and my camera screwed up. Welcome to Wonder Woman Wednesday. I am Jared, and today I am going to be answering your questions. There you go. About Tom King's Wonder Woman. What's horrible about it, besides everything? Hey, what's up, Kim? What's up, Xenon? So this is gonna be kind of a thing on all the issues, pun intended, with Tom King's Wonder Woman and how to make a good Wonder Woman run. Like, what are the components of a good run for the Amazon? Because this is something that DC repeatedly gets wrong over and over and over again. It is one of the most ridiculous. It's not. See, here's the thing. In my mind, she's not hard to write for. You just have to put away your ego and write her like past writers have written her. It's very, very simple. It's not that hard, but what questions do you guys have, particularly about the run or how to make a good Wonder Woman run, that you guys would like to have answered? Because I'm here for you guys. Could be any questions about writing Wonder Woman, about like what DC writers continually get wrong. Let me know. Let me know. Because there's any number of questions. And again, it's something that DC continually gets wrong, and when they shouldn't, because they've owned this character since the 40s. And you can't tell me she is that impossible to write for. You just, I'm sorry, that is like unacceptable. And don't forget to like the stream. It helps it get spread. But just let me know what specific questions you guys have. I'll try to answer them as best I can. And again, this is just my like opinions. So it's like, if you guys have a difference of opinion on how to handle Wonder Woman, that's fine. It's just like for that. How would you market Nubia and make her have an identity, even if it's just lesbian Wonder Woman? How would you help her? Well, they're doing a good job in making her queen of the Amazons, and that's like a great way to do that. You have to essentially make her unique and not just the bi or gay Diana, because that is one of the issues that DC repeatedly runs into. Whenever they have like a blank version of the character, they make it so what makes that character diverse is all that their identity is. Where I'm like, okay, that's not necessarily the way you want to go in that direction. But it's like with that, you want to see, it's a balancing act, because I get it, because you want to be able to like, for people to like see themselves in these characters, no matter their race, gender, sexual orientation, what have you. But you also don't want to be stereotypical. And unfortunately, Hollywood and the comic book industry tend to get very stereotypical. What's up, Jid? What's up? It's too much of the comic book industry gets very. That's one of the reasons why I'm against all this stuff, because Hollywood inevitably turns it into a stereotype, and I'm like, that doesn't help anyone. What's up, NJ? How you doing? It doesn't help anyone in their stereotypes. But beyond that, I mean, they need to do more with her. Like, she had her own book, which I think is a great idea. Maybe give her a side book. Maybe she's the protagonist in Sensation Comics in additional, like what they could do. And NJ, you'll love this. When they inevitably bring back Sensation Comics and make it like about Wonder Woman's world, she could have an ongoing story. And like part of that, you make Sensation a anthology book. And then have like, she has an ongoing story that shows like her ruling the Amazons, her like dealing with like what happened with the Sovereign, the aftermath, her fighting all the Amazons. There's so much that they can do to make this character unique, because here's the thing about Nubia. She deserves to get pushed more, because she is a amazing character. What's up, Tavia? How you doing? But it's like, she is an amazing character that DC just doesn't do enough with. It's like, yes, and with Nubia being a black character, she needs to be respected. Yeah, exactly. Because again, the character deserves respect. That's the first thing. And again, she is a great character, and they've done some amazing stuff with her for in Wonder Woman comics. And it's one of the sad parts, because here's the thing. It would be one thing if the character didn't have the potential, and it was like she was a stupid character, but she is literally not. Like, she is one of the most interesting Wonder Woman characters around. And I'm like, you have absolutely zero excuse if you think that like there needs to be more like characters like that of prominence. You have a character that the fan base loves that you don't do anything with. That's again my whole argument against changing the orientation or race or anything like that of all these different characters and all these different adaptations, because you have all these different versions of the characters that people love that you just condemn to the ash heap of comic book history, where I'm like, if you actually use these characters properly, guess what? You 100% would work. Fans were going nuts when she was introduced to Multiversity, sadly. Yeah, but still. All right, so let's see. Question. Speaking of Tom King run, I'm wondering if you're able to fix this run. Kick him off the book. That's how I would change it. Kick him off the book, make a black label so we don't have to reference it anymore. We're done. That's how you fix it. That is 100% as you fix it, because King is not capable of changing the direction of his writing. It's just going to be more Steve worship. That's all it's going to be. Yes, King off Wonder Woman. Thank you, Jid. Thank you, Jid. But that's it. The way I kind of see it, the run is very irredeemable. Like, I'm sorry, there is no saving it. And the sooner that we accept that, the more we can move on, because it's like, and I talked about this in the Weird Science podcast. The thing about Tom King's Wonder Woman, this is what fan conversation is going to be like when he inevitably leaves the book. Are you ready? It's going to be, oh yeah, remember when King wrote Wonder Woman? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, like, he's not going to get remembered. When it comes to Diana, does it make sense for her to have a public instead of a public identity? I assume. I don't think it works with Diana having a private, a secret identity, based upon like how much truth really like factors into her character. And I mean, as long as you give her something to do with that public identity, like when she, like in the post-crisis, when she was like the ambassador of the Amazonian embassy, that was something great, because you got to see her be more of like the diplomat as opposed to the warrior. And it's like she could just fly down, hang out as Wonder Woman, like shake hands, do what have you, and then just go about her daily business. See, that's again why I praise post-crisis. As much as I have a problem with post-crisis DC, the Wonder Woman run did some fantastic stuff. Plus, yeah, Jin brings up the Diana Prince hasn't been a thing since '86. Diana herself was like, why would I lie about my identity? Exactly. So I'm like, it does. Superman, it's understandable. Batman, it's understandable. Wonder Woman, it's antithetical to her character and at least in my mind. So the run is beyond salvation at this point. That's a shame, because this one should have worked in. It actually shouldn't have, because King is the wrong person to elevate Wonder Woman. He just is. He just what's the opposite of elevate? Devilate, I guess. I'm making up words at this point. He's the opposite of who you should have, because he's one of those writers that wants to be like Alan Moore so much that he deconstructs characters, but he forgets about the very important rebuilding them. At least Zack Snyder rebuilt these characters after deconstructing. Yes, thank you, Tavia. Artemis says, NJ says Artemis needs more stories with her and Diana Kim. Yes, exactly. That was one of the, like, maybe a World's Finest style thing where it's just those two going on adventures. Like in Sensational Wonder Woman, or I think it's called Sensation Comics featuring Wonder Woman, the digital first book, there was a storyline where Diana goes to War World because Artemis is fighting in War World. So she has to go there and bring her back. And it's really cool. I loved it. Thank you, because some close fans are trying to tell me Super Wonder doesn't work. Because of that, when we've seen it work, i.e. start the new 52. Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry. It's like, and on that, it's like even in the Charles Sewell Superman Wonder Woman book, they directly dealt with the sort of, I don't want to say conflict, but it's kind of like, I'll say it. I mean conflict in the less confrontational way. In this sense, they dealt with that conflict really well. Where you have like Diana and Clark, and debating on like keeping secrets, because remember, she's not used to like keeping all this stuff apart from the world, even like their relationship. And Superman is used to that because that's like his thing. And then Diana, like, and they both go through a sort of like learning curve where they like adjust. So I'm like, that's the way you do it. You can directly deal with it without it being like that much of a drama. But Lois fans should not talk, because Lois routinely like pushes him to ignore his Kryptonian and just embrace just being Clark. So I'm beyond Lois fans talking about like the secret identity keeping them apart, because I'm like, hello people, you just want them to adopt the secret identity, that's it. So like, sorry guys, you're not helping at all. It just like astounds me how some people can be so, I don't want to say stupid, but pigheaded and hypocritical. That's what I'll say. Because I'm sorry, a lot, like Britt and I said yesterday on Legacy, it is astounding the amount of hypocrisy people have for like ship relationships. Superman should be a public identity. I mean, here's the thing, Jid. When He Who Must Not Be Named revealed Superman's secret identity, I was interested at first, because I was like, okay, you have the potential to give out like, to show like, what's the word? It's to show like the back, for lack of a better term, backlash that would result from that. Like, I'm sorry, I wanted a supervillain to attack the Daily Planet because Superman just outed his identity. That never happened. So I'm like, you left the terrific story potential on the table in the effort of laziness. And I go, I'm sorry, that would have worked. That's why, and Britt and I have talked about this in the show. If Superman and Wonder Woman were together and he revealed his secret identity, I would love if like some supervillain said, okay, we can go and get payback on Superman for all the crap he's put us through. And then one of the villains, like maybe Parasite, is like, have you seen who he's married to? We're not going to get 2 feet with him if Wonder Woman's there. So that's the cool story potential you could have, which you should not be naming the truth idea was about. Yeah, it was. I mean, it's not a bad idea, Tavio. It's just bad execution. Because again, that definitely can work, but it's just, I'm sorry, it just falls apart when you actually don't do anything with it. Because that's how I know that He Must Not Be Named, when he did that in his Superman run, that was just because he was too lazy and didn't want to write the secret identity, which is hilarious, because I'm going to show you guys this. Do you know what He Who Must Not Be Named was really known for, in addition to Marvel? This! I'm pretty sure Spider-Man has a secret identity. So I'm like, bro, if you don't know how to write like a secret identity, I'm sorry, I don't believe that. I think it was just laziness. It was definitely just laziness. It never ceases to piss me off about great ideas that have faulty executions, because again, it's like, again, the potential is there. That's like a lot of what DC was. And here's the thing. That's why I was extremely wary of the Absolute Universe, because I had always, because here's the thing. In my experience prior to this, DC always shirks the potential. In other words, they don't like fulfill their true potential of like all these great stories. So I was like, okay, any minute now, they're going to screw it up. Any minute now. Any minute now. Oh, they're not screwing up. This is actually really cool. Hey, what's up, Britt? And yes, DC faulty executions. I know. And Britt's here, so I'm going to play her intro.
He's back.
Yeah, that's true. It's just extremely faulty thing. Yeah, that is like incredible. It astounds me how good, because this is the crazy part of the Absolute Universe. it literally shouldn't work. Diana raised in hell away from the Amazons, that should not work as well as it does. But when you have a writer like Kelly Thompson, that she tried to make the because originally Diana was going to be just female Kratos. And I think that's what would have happened if Scott Snyder wrote her. But then it's like, oh my God. It's like she said, I couldn't make it work, so I just made her Diana in this hellhole. And I'm like, I am so glad you did, because that's my comfort Wonder Woman book. NJ says, have we gotten to the point where MJ is at the level of Steve Trevor right now? They should both get together if that's the case. MJ, let's see. Here's the thing, MJ. Mary Jane actually is a character outside, where Steve Trevor is just, he's a plot device to get her off the island. And Mary Jane serves a purpose, and they have had some great moments in the comics. Steve Trevor is more like Paul. Yes, I said it. Steve is the Paul of the Wonder Woman universe at this point. That is when that is what the character has been denigrated to, especially as it relates to like the Tom King run, because Paul is the character in the Spider-Man run that Marvel, for the longest time, that Nick Lowe, the editor of Spider-Man, was constantly trying to like hype up as like the next big thing, and he basically cringily like hyped up this character to the point where he says, face front true Paul Evers, and I go, I know what you're trying to do. It's not working. If anything, you look like a freaking moron. But that's my point. It's like, so it's like Steve Trevor. So it's like Tom King is the Nick Lowe of DC at this point. Oh God, that's a statement I never thought I would say. What am I kidding? Of course I thought I'd say that. Of course. But it's just, I hate seeing stuff like blow up in DC's face, but I also kind of like that. I wouldn't go that far, because Paul's a character who shouldn't even exist, because at least Steve Trevor served a purpose. That's just my opinion before Tom King. His purpose was to get off. I mean, as a character that doesn't serve a purpose now, that is literally it. That is it. So I'm just like astounded that this like I'm saying Steve is the Paul in that the lengths that DC does to promote the character. Had to look it up so I got her name right. But you say Vanessa as the new Wonder Girl, or have her remain Silver Swan, but good when DC reboots. You could have her be a Wonder Girl, and that's honestly a great story potential for the character. I mean, I wish that DC would do that. The problem is, a lot of Wonder Woman writers don't even know that Vanessa and Julia exist. And I'm like, that's hilarious when you consider the fact that there is like so many like that there are so many Wonder Woman writers that promote like what's the word, that like promote what's the word, damn it, that promote the Perez run of the as this fantastic character, as this fantastic run. And yes, JJheat, I sent you the link. Come on in, brother. But it's one of those things where I'm like, you have this character, you have this critically acclaimed run that you're constantly trying to emulate, but you forget about what makes it so unique. Because in the Perez run, Steve wasn't a love interest. Actually, there was no love interest. So I'm like, bro, the reason why the Perez run is so held in high regard is that it focused on Diana, as opposed to her just being the love interest, as opposed to in the King run, which he claims he's going off of the George Perez run, but mainly it's more like he's trying to surpass the Perez run, which even on that, if you hear him talk about it, he says, I didn't want to write Wonder Woman. And then he makes the Perez funeral all about him, where he said, it's like, I didn't want to do it until I heard, I was at the funeral and I heard Perez say, and I heard Perez challenging me. He goes, me. That's all Tom King does. Me. And by the way, so JJheat's here, so I'm gonna I have a perfect clip for you, my brother. So as you guys know, I made a metric crop ton of really good like clips for Wonder Woman. So I'm like, as soon as his stuff loads, I'll let him in. But still, you make a good point with Steve, but you treat it as Wonder Woman's world. Yeah, it's not. She's not essential. Well, I am really uncomfortable and annoyed of how in the last issue they got Diana tortured. I know, right? Why is she torturing people? I'm like, that is. And the way they excuse it or like they address it is like Diana is like upset that is like has this anger festering in her because of Steve's death. And I go, bro, that's not a thing. That is definitely not a thing. So I'm like, what are you doing? Diana's not the character to take out her anger on other sentient beings. I say sentient because actually in the Batman Superman book by Joshua Williamson, when Donna was turned into a blank who laughs, what happened was they show up and talk to Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is battling like Greek monsters. She takes her frustration out on monsters and non-sentient beings. So I'm like, what are you doing, guys? You are literally screwing this up. And it's like, again, and it's like he severely screws up the Julia of Capitellis relationship and tries to make it like some kind of like unrequited stalkery attraction. And I go, bro, that has never been a thing with Julia Capitellis. What the hell are you doing? Like that is under no circumstances what Julia has only ever seen Diana as like a sister, a big sister, nothing romantic. Then again, this is coming from the guy that promoted a issue of Batcat by saying people F in this issue. So the man's kind of a perv. So there you go. Big surprise. But it's freaking ridiculous. And I'm just like, this is really stupid. Yeah, it's like what, and when Diana says she doesn't care about blasphemy, and I go, dude, and when she calls Zeus, you sad little man. Diana would never call Zeus that. Okay, JJheat's here, so hang on. Let me play the clip. Hello.
Hey.
I thought that was the proper clip for you.
Yeah, love it.
But NJ says the next writer should bring Julia back and make Vanessa into new Wonder Girl. How do you feel about Vanessa becoming a Wonder Girl?
I've always advocated this for the longest, like especially when it came to Vanessa. Like if you read 600 at the very end, where Nessie's like she's graduated college, and then this is the part where they can do more with the character. She can become like Oracle. Like how Oracle is for Batman, and she can kind of be like that for Wonder Woman, just work on the sidelines, work in the background, be that little techie superhero for Wonder Woman. They could have done that, but
well, again, that would require DC to actually care, and we all know they really don't.
And they like to just reboot everything for a Wonder Woman every few years. Like, oh, that's not our canon. This is now canon.
Except when we really want them to reboot Wonder Woman, which is what about now?
What about
I'm now? Like, this is the one time where a reboot's okay, guys.
I know.
Also, having Batman make the Greek gods afraid. Yeah, what the hell is up with this? I don't get that entire issue. When Britt and I were talking about it last night, I attributed it more where it's like you literally scream every time you turn a page. I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm like, bro, stop pushing the gods as like being afraid of Batman. They wouldn't. Or like Diana saying, I don't care about blasphemy. And I go, what? What do you think?
Again, like Britt said, it's the opposite of what Perez is doing. Because I'm doing a deep dive of the Perez run all over again, reading the physicals. And like the way Diana conversed with the gods, and she was so respectful, and she looked down, like she looked up to them and always praised them. She was praying to them, every night, and Julia would talk about this. And then now it's like all of a sudden she hates them and she wants to stab them and she's doing this and that to them. And it's like, when did that happen?
Yeah, I know, because she is always Even when she didn't like them, or like when they were hurting her, like going against her, she she always showed reverence to them. She never said, "I don't care about blasphemy." I go, what the hell is this coming from?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I said it last night when so King keeps going on podcasts, and every single time he talks about, particularly now, how he knows comics. And I go, if you have to keep telling people you know comics, you don't know comics. That's like walking into an office and saying, I'm in charge. I'm in charge. Listen to me. I'm in charge. You're not in charge.
And he writes his characters the same damn way. Like, this is the same things on with Batman, having Batman hurt all his like side characters. And I think at one point Batman hurt Tim Drake. That's basically all over. We're seeing this all over again with Diana, beating up Yara Flora that one time and her mom.
Well, even on that, it's like it's and it actually that's very fortuitous that you said that, because it's like when he was trying to hype up Catwoman by having her beat Talia in a sword fight, and then in a hand-to-hand combat fight beat Barry and Wally, and I go, they're speedsters.
Yeah, and like again, I love Catwoman, and I think that Catwoman is a very fantastic character.
Yeah.
But like the, I don't know, it's just the over reliance on a love interest. That's always his go-to, and he makes his characters very hell bent on them. Like especially with Tora and Human Target. That's one of the worst. Just the obsession and the romance and whatever the infatuation, the lust in that book is just so weird. And I don't know, it's just his only way to write a book is to have lust and blood together. It's just disgusting. Like you've seen that in Tom King in the Batman book, you see it with the Wonder Woman book. It's just Human Target Part 3 all over again.
Yeah, exactly, because the man self-inserts into literally everything. By the way, Tevia says, yeah, none of the plots make sense. Yes, exactly. And then Cameron says, that image has really been annoying me because Batman fans are now going to go, Batman made the god his bitches. Yeah, exactly. But how do you feel about the upcoming Mouseman arc, and King describing as Mouseman having a huge ego, his own island, being a monster, and wanting revenge against Anna for a humiliating defeat? Huge ego, that's self-insert on Tom King's part. But here's the thing. I think that the Mouseman, I'm still going to say it. The Mouseman will be the last arc he writes for Wonder Woman, because the sales are already crappy. You're writing a villain that's not a draw, that most people don't even know exists. And the only reason why, like, issue 20 climbed up in the sales is Batman and Marvel, like, royally, like, collapsed. So it's like, if you take away, the Marvel and the Batman, there's no draw here. It's not like if he brought in, like, Cersei or something like that to be the new Wonder Woman villain. No. Or, like, Grail would be a better choice.
I know we haven't seen, like, the actual villains, like Cersei, Grail, like you mentioned. Cheetah, she showed up, like, the 1-2 times. That's it. Like, like, where's Ares? Ares is dead, apparently, or something like that. It's like, what the hell? When did that happen? So, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's freaking ridiculous. And then Tevia says, I always assume with Catwoman taking down the speedster only happened because Poison was controlling them, and maybe it's not Billy's not so strong. Yeah, but still they're speedsters. She shouldn't be able to, like, punch him out with one punch.
And Poison Ivy versus the Flashes.
That's not going to work out that well.
Right.
Yeah, Britt says, because Strife fangirling a bit, and Clark, the gods aren't afraid of him. If anything, think they can humble him. Yeah, exactly. And then Battlegoon 91 says, oh, Hera, I hope that King is done after. That's most likely what it is, because the sales, even not counting, and in issue 19, it went down to like 82 from 45, a precipitous drop. It's like with that. Plus, here's the thing. It could be sooner. Here's why. I get that people want to say that, like, it's not as bad as the Clunrad sales, which there is a lot of reasons why that shouldn't be used as an excuse. But here's the other thing, Jid, because when you have Absolute Wonder Woman for a year placing in the top 5 while and being hailed by the fans and the critics, when you have a crappy one, the main Wonder Woman book is struggling, it's either in the 82 spot or the 45 spot. I'm sorry. That is ridiculous. And eventually DC is going to get the message that you have to actually care about the storyline. You have to actually care about this character that you claim to say is a third member of the Trinity.
Yeah, if you have to say, a couple months ago, I told you this before too. I was very, very stressed with how Wonder was going to be treated in the comics and stuff like that. But it looks like we're on the right path. Tom King's not sticking around for a long time. Like max he'll last is 30 issues overall, like 1 to 30, and that's probably it. Like we're not getting it.
30 to 50 is where I say he leaves. One of those two.
Yeah, and honestly, like even to 50 is not too bad. This is like not even 2 years worth of comics, so it's kind of like whatever.
Yeah, so either way, he's leaving next year. So It's not like we got to wait that long.
Exactly. And you also realize there's a new wave coming in, the DCU. We're going to get more different kind of synergy, more stuff. The history of DCU is going to change everything that we know so far.
It already fixed Diana being old.
Yes. Yes.
King
Dr. Psycho. Yes. Dr. Psycho is one we haven't seen at all.
As pawns. Here's the thing. The minute that he lost me, the minute that the daughter of Darkseid becomes a pawn for a human, I'm like, okay, that's where I'm going to stop here, because there's no way Darkseid is going to let his daughter be the pawn of a human. You wrote Darkseid, bro. A crappy, watered-down version of Darkseid, but you wrote Darkseid, but it's freaking nuts. If King does leave, let me put it this way. Either way, he's going to write that Trinity series, but I can't see that selling well at all.
Well, the Trinity miniseries is a limited series, so it ends really soon.
It used to be you notice it was originally billed as an ongoing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I remember even he called it a Trinity ongoing series, and I go, ha ha!
Ha ha, indeed. Because that book is not going to see the top 50.
That's not even going to make the top 80, I don't think. Honestly, Britt and I are very convinced it's not even going to chart because not enough people give a crap about Trinity for that book to get to where it's got to be.
Exactly.
And that's why, again, I get the feeling they're going to hide Trinity and never reference her again as soon as he leaves the book. Luckily, the stuff he's done on the Wonder Woman book, yes, it's been egregious, but like they can easily ignore that. Like the Hippolyta punch, that you could just say that's not her origin or something like that. You don't have to explain that. But Cameron says he disrespected so many characters. For instance, why are Donna and Cassie abandoning Diana, their sister? That's a good question.
Why is Donna try cussing?
Why is Zeus cussing? That's the clear question. He makes every character a cursing up a storm sailor, and I go, bro, that's not even. And then you notice how he turned Yara into even more of a racial stereotype, where she's cursing every other word. I'm like, is no one looking at this saying this is vaguely racist? Tevia says, wait a second, how did Ares get killed? Zeus killed him for crying, Tevia. That was the reasoning. Britt says, it was the same as John's title, Flops and Chops. Yeah, exactly, because the John book was supposed to be an ongoing. It was supposed to go on for longer, but it flopped so hard that they downgraded it to a mini series within a few issues of ending. So that's the dirty little secret of DC. Battle Goon says, in another world, how could the Sovereign Trinity and Mouseman have been written to be interesting characters, if this is possible? Also, how would you write Steve to fit into Diana's mythos? So on the Steve part, I wouldn't. Let me put it this way: I would have him get her off the island into man's world, and then he just goes away. He's not part of Diana's world anymore because he really has no place. In terms of Sovereign should not have been a Wonder Woman villain because he works more as a Superman villain, because Diana doesn't really deal with patriotism that often. So I go, instead of the guy whose third phrase is American way, you put it with Wonder Woman. Trinity doesn't work because you base all of her origin around a man. That is a stupid idea. But if I had to write her, make her Emily's daughter, and Emily dies, so Diana adopts Trinity. That's the way you do that. And Mouseman, I don't even use. How would you do this?
Yeah, well, with Steve, first of all, they should have just kept the post-crisis origin and kept him as a older friend who disappears in the background with Etta Candy, which kind of does suck because I love Etta Candy, but Gail Simone, she made Etta Candy. Can I cuss a bit? She was a baddie. She was a baddie, Etta Candy, like Etta Candy and the Simone run. So they could have kept that thing going on. Again, Sovereign does not make any sense in the Wonder Woman mythos. She makes more sense in
also a secret god, a secret king of America. How does Batman not know this character exists?
How does Batman not know? I know.
He knows everything. Where were the Bat God people on this?
No, Jared, you know what? Alien works with Batman. Like, put Sovereign in a Batman book. I feel like that works.
That works. That works again. But I'm like, there's so many different characters that this would work. But again, it's because King is known for having like having like a bunch of writing like ideas, story ideas that he just forces any character into no matter what. If he I want to write a story about a drunk pirate girl. Oh, so I'm writing Supergirl. All right, I'm gonna rip off True Grit. It's and then the thing is, if King has like any backlash, he dumps the blame on other people, like with Detective Chimp or like any of those other books. Because here's the thing: when he did that to Sampere, and Sampere said it wasn't me, I'm just the artist. I trust Sampere more because because Sampere does not have the reputation of shunting blame off to other people. King does. That's him. Remember when he sent a hate mob against Jay Lee, who had just lost his dog, because Jay Lee dared to do a cover for Ethan Van Sciver?
This was when, 2016?
Yep, around that time period. And I go, and then he never even apologized. He said, "Oh yeah, I talked to Jay. We're all good." And I'm like, bro, you sent a hate mob. If someone actually went after Jay and hurt him, DC could have been sued. And actually, at that mind, Tom King should have been fired at that point.
Yeah, Nepo baby.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly. That's the only reason why he got into DC, because his mom is an executive at Warner Brothers, or was. Speaking of Wonder Woman supporting cast, if you were able to get Yara Flores an ongoing, who would you want? I don't think I would put her in a Wonder Girls book. I don't think Yara should have her own book.
Yeah, like a sensational comics book. Like, you know how Detective Comics and we have the Batman book? Same thing with her. Yeah,
exactly. Battle Goon says, I was wondering when Lex was present, did he bow to Sovereign since they said Sovereign owned all the... That's a good question! Oh my god!
Oh.
Because that's canon. Everything's canon. So I'm like, oh, wait a minute here. Wow. By the way, I'm going to be really laughing my ass off if they never address the Sovereign in the history of the DC Universe book. Like, if they completely ignore it. So I'm like, okay, it's not canon.
They're not going to.
Yeah, it's not canon. How did DC come to think Steve is a popular... Okay, no, because here's the thing. He's the only love interest that they have developed for Diana, besides Clark, obviously. Yeah. But we all know there's a lot of reasons why DC's never going to let that happen.
And it's also nostalgia. So like the Linda Carter show, Super Friends to an extent. Like it's always this 70s nostalgia that's attached to Steve. Because like the modern day, like no one. DCAU does not do Steve at all besides a Savage Time, and that's just like one little episode.
Yeah, I know.
Like Steve has not been adapted in cartoons for like the 80s to like the 2010s, and then the Wonder Woman movie, the one with the 2009 one, they brought Steve back as love interest, which is weird because that's based on Gods and Mortals, but Vanessa's not even in that movie, but like she plays a big part of the Gods and Mortals book.
Yeah, I know. NJ says they should bring back Hippolyta ASAP after King leaves for a huge and key figure in Diana's life. She's been sidelined and useless for 4 years since the pointless trial of the Amazons. Put Hestia as Mary's god. Yeah, exactly. Oh, they referenced Sovereign and Titans recently, maybe because they have the same editor. That's probably why. But if the history of the DC universe ignores it, that would be... Because this is my prediction. They're letting him tell his story, and then they're keeping it as separate from the main continuity as they can. And then eventually, it's so when he leaves the book, they can decide what are we keeping and what are we not keeping. I get the feeling that most of it's going to be not keeping, which I'm happy about. I completely forgot about the Sovereign owning all the presents. Me too. But I'm like, that is very interesting. To me, with Steve at his best, he's a manly man who is kind, humble, and chases dreams and is honest, like G.I. Joe meets Gully for the Streets, but is only human in Diana's world. Okay, so what do you mean by that? Because here's the thing. Steve works in the way that he was in Post-Crisis, where he's like a father/brother figure for Diana. He doesn't work as a love interest.
Yeah, and also if you read the Gods Immortals, like Steve, like he was framed, like he was framed for treason and this and that, and then Diana was the one who like brought light into the world and revealed the truth about him, and he was set up. That's a 100% way to go about him as well there.
But so you're telling me, Jid, we actually have to read the comics?
Yes.
Oh my god! Well, I never would have thought of that. It's a shame.
Yeah. Tom King, do you read?
No, the answer is no. He claims he read the Perez run, and I go, then why are you getting so much stuff wrong? It's like, at this point, you're getting so much wrong that I think you intentionally didn't read it, or you think you can do better than it. Anyway, I think he means with that comment is Guile is a street fighter. What was a military man, similar to Steve? Yeah, but it doesn't work. I mean that he works as a love interest ultimately won't work out for Diana due to differences. But they still respect each other 100%. I'm not saying that like she hates Steve or anything like that, but it's like he works. Maybe they could try when she first arrives in Man's World, but it doesn't work out. But he still remains like a confidant of Diana. That I'm fine with.
Yeah.
But no, it's like DC is just like, they're like, let's keep pushing Steve, even though he really doesn't work. So I'm like, bro, it's astounding how they keep trying to push these traditional love interests when they have just brought down the characters. Like, I'm sorry, Lois has brought Superman down.
Or if they don't have Steve, they'll introduce all these like Steve variants, like it's
like Trevor Barnes. That's not lazy at all.
Or Tom Tresser.
Oh wait, so Jid, I was reading through this.
Yeah.
And when I got to the Trevor Barnes section, they literally end after talking about how Trevor died. Jimenez literally has it said that Diana considered him the most beautiful mortal to ever live.
I know that he's pissed off that they killed Trevor Barnes because Trevor Barnes died after he left, and I'm sure that eats him up that they killed his precious OC.
I would love if I, it's kind of funny. I'm a troll that if I got to write Wonder Woman, I would just dunk on Trevor Barnes saying, like blast that character. NJ says, does Hades have a good relationship with Diana in the main universe? It's kind of funny. I've barely ever seen Hades in Wonder Woman comics.
Yeah, I feel like Hades was more of a thing in the cartoon, like the JLU cartoon.
Oh my gosh, isn't that the one where they tried to make him Diana's father?
Yeah.
You wonder why I had so many problems with that cartoon for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. What new Wonder Woman villains would you create to challenge her? Well, you don't have to create any new Wonder Woman villains to challenge her. There's plenty of them there.
Make a new cheetah. We're sick of Barba. I'm sorry.
Or make Grail her reverse Flash, and that Grail is the dark reflection of Diana. That's how you make that character work really well.
Or you can bring back Priscilla Rich because Minerva. She's like, I don't know. There's no. I don't know. She's out in the open right now. Like, there's no definitive arc going on for Minerva because people keep like doing weird stuff to her. I say bring back Priscilla Rich and get rid of Minerva or something like that. It'll be so much cooler.
I guarantee you that Rucka is gonna make her a villain again.
Thank God.
Yeah, I'm like, please do. They should bring back Michael and have him and Diana have a relationship. Who? Yeah, Jen and I are that Guardians of the Galaxy gif. Who? So, speaking of Wonder Woman and her kids, I'm wondering if you read about precisely Wonder Woman's daughter, who was also in the Sandman comic series by Neil Gaiman. No, I did not. Interesting.
Do you mean Mike Shore from the John Byrne run?
Oh no. Do
Hell
not
no.
bring
Sorry.
No. First off, do not reference anything by John Byrne. I'm just gonna tell you that right there. No. Because then Diana will be making out with a 14-year-old boy knowing John Byrne.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, I have to reference that so it never gets. Because here's the thing, that's a common thing in John Byrne's books. It's not like it's a one-time thing.
It was so bad in the John Byrne run because like she turns down Mike Shore and then she dates like this Hercules, or she falls for Hercules, who looks like a Superman clone, and it's so gross. Yeah, it's
the guy that is the reason why the Amazons don't trust men.
Yeah, the one who like literally does shit like stuff to her mom, and like she falls for that abuser. Make it make sense. But she doesn't know that abuser is Hercules because he disguised himself as a Superman clone. It's so bad.
It's like John Byrne is trying to tell us that like Superman and Wonder Woman belong together, but I don't want John Byrne on my side. Did Dr. Psycho brainwash DC to slander Diana by letting Tom King write her comic? Oh, that is a theory right there. That is a theory. That's what Dr. Psycho is doing. That's what I would do. In fact, my idea to get rid of Trinity is to make it where like she is like health. She's the personification of Diana's grief about losing Steve. So the minute she moves on or like she lets go of her grief, Trinity vanishes because she was made from out of grief for Steve deciding, no, I'm going to stay dead. I'm like, there you go. That's the way you do it. Or okay. So Jid, you want to hear how I would do it if I want to be very petty?
Yes.
I make it where Trinity is not actually Diana's daughter. Diana actually resurrected Medusa. That's if I really want to be petty.
Or she could be like Medusa's daughters, because Medusa has so many daughters.
Yeah, exactly. Because exactly, and then she grows, and all of a sudden snakes pop out of her head. I would make her the most I would make her the most evil character ever. That's it. That's what I would do. That would be the best. So Cersei versus Wonder Woman is way better than any other rivalry. Maybe Dr. Psycho would be good too. Giganta is not really evil, and Minerva is better as an anti-hero after Rucka himself turned into a tragic figure.
Yes, but also Cersei gets really boring after a while because sometimes Cersei, they don't know what to do with her. Like if you read the Messner Lopes run with Cersei, it was just so weird that she becomes Donna Milton and she's obsessed with Ares or Ares Buchanan. Like there's no consistency with Cersei. Like I feel like the only people who got Cersei right were Perez, Jimenez, and Rucka.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's I think that the thing about Cersei, yeah, she works, but the problem is it's one of those villain relationships that has been done to death.
Yes.
So I'm like, no. I'm like, give us something new. That's
break,
why I'm like, Grail, you made her a Wonder Woman villain. Actually use her. They've only used her in one arc. I'm like, come on, guys. And when you used her, it was actually pretty good. But it just astounds me about all the, like Britt and I always say, the wasted potential of the Wonder Woman under DC. And I'm like, guys, it's not like this is the most impossible thing to do. This should be easy. But again, it's like DC trying to trying to accurately do Wonder Woman is like trying to turn water into wine. It's nearly impossible. But it's kind of. I mean, now here's the thing. I want to say it's not all like doom and gloom because we do have the Wonder Woman book by Stephanie Williams, which I'm sorry, I'm going to promote the hell out of that book because it's anything but Tom King. And Absolute Wonder Woman basically being Snow White talking to birds.
That is like, so sweet.
That is so good.
I know.
And you notice her eyes are glowing white this time when she's talking to animals. And I go, oh, that is just so pure. And then we get more Veronica Cale. I swear, it's like, it'll never not be funny that the same time that Tom King released a Wonder Woman issue, shortly thereafter, on the same day, Absolute Wonder Woman will release and do basically the same thing, but infinitely better. That will never not be funny.
It takes me out.
Yeah, exactly. But I honestly, how great would it be if Kelly Thompson ends up being the Wonder Woman writer with the artist from like issue 5 and 6 of Absolute Wonder Woman? That would be it. Do you guys think a Wonder Woman game might be made? I would love one. Well, I would love one.
No,
too,
that's not happening. I'm sorry. Y'all need to give it up.
Yeah, not with the current DC and WB. No way.
Yeah, it's really hard for them to create a video game in the first place, you guys. Like it takes like years upon years and it takes like, a lot of people. It's not just like it can be done in 2 years. Like the Wonder Woman game, like they've been planning that since like 2018 or 2017, I believe, or even before that, I believe.
Oh, and by the way, so Rucka hinted at Comics League. Oh, he was on the channel recently that he still has new ideas for Cersei if he gets to write mainline Wonder Woman. So at the hands of, well, I'm not saying that like you can't make Cersei like interesting nowadays and you can't do new things with her. I'm just saying it's kind of a rivalry that's been done to death. But let me put it this way. anyone but Tom King. That's what Jin and I keep trying to tell.
Yeah.
We're like, let's get him off the book first. Who cares? We'll deal with whoever is on. We know what Ruck is gonna do.
So like the thing we're trying to say is like, so you know how Joker and Batman are done to death? That's basically what we're trying to say with Cersei and Diana. It's kind of like, you know, like they've done enough, and Cersei has destructed, damaged Wonder Woman so many times, like, and it all goes down back to her, which is so annoying sometimes. It's kind of like, can you get something new? You know.
All right, so Battlegoon says, Britt and Jared, I want to thank you guys for your videos and knowledge on Wonder Woman. You guys are geniuses when it comes to DC, Superman, Wonder Woman. Thank you. Hey, and I'm sure that if Britt is watching this, she is probably crying somewhere.
Aww.
But it is our great pleasure. Someone's got to do it because no one talks about, no one devotes 3.5-hour live streams per Saturday night on Superman and Wonder Woman's relationship, or Wonder Woman particularly. So,
and that's because Britt and Jared actually read the stuff, unlike some people who just go off their head. Look at the bookshelf right there.
Yeah, and there's more down here. Before you ask, are you scared of running out of space? Yeah, but I don't care at this point. I'll make space. I will take a sledgehammer to my walls if I have to, okay? But I really appreciate that. And yeah, it's one of those, it's interesting when you look at how little Wonder Woman is talked about on the internet outside of people talking about how boring of a character she is, and then here comes Britt and I no, the character's awesome. You all just suck.
Y'all don't read.
Yeah, exactly. If you read the stories, she's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I would have Cersei only conflict when she's bored. You can even have a scene where Diana goes, "Why do you keep bothering me?" And Cersei goes, "You try being immortal, you get bored quickly."
Well, I know that Cersei is like very old. Like she's like Hippolyta's age. Like they had beef like way back then.
But that actually is not a bad idea. Where it's like she's Maxil but for Wonder Woman, that's actually
oh, that is so cool, Jared. I love that.
That's actually a great idea.
Right?
Like, oh wow,
she's a troll.
Yeah, she definitely is a troll, and it's like occasionally she teams up with Wonder Woman maybe when she's like, okay, I'm the only one who could screw with Diana. And it says, which is sad because Wonder Woman is she is a great character. And again, when people say that no one cares about Wonder Woman, the 2017 movie's success proves to me you are wrong on that. So say what you want about that movie, ignoring Wonder Woman 1984 like we all do. But with the 2017 Wonder Woman movie, I'm sorry, that proves people care about Wonder Woman.
And also, when it comes to animated movies, who is the one making the top dollars?
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, what was it? Wonder Woman 2009. That made almost $10 million in 2009, and that was one of the highest DC AU movies.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Bloodlines may have flopped, but that's just because they didn't put a lot of effort into it.
It had no promo. Nobody knew about it. I, as a Wonder Woman fan, didn't even know that was a thing until years after.
And then when you see it, it's so cheap because the animation style legit changes too. Like the art style, like Diana's face looks different, and I go, "What?"
Yeah.
And then again, they deal with the whole breakup between Superman and Wonder Woman off screen again. And Jid, you know how much I hate that.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like my general philosophy when it comes to writing is if you can't do it on screen or on page, don't do it at all. It's not worth doing.
Go ahead.
I
was gonna say, oftentimes those anime movies, they're direct, scene by scene, adaptations.
Mm-hmm.
But it's strange with Wonder Woman, they don't do that. Like with Gods and Mortals, the 2009 movie, they didn't do any of that with Julia and Vanessa, or talk about the Russian government, or with Bloodlines as well. They didn't take anything from the Eye of Gorgon, that whole series. It was just a bunch of they took stuff from it here and there, and just made OC stuff out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's or you could even do the first arc of Rucka. There's any number of things you could do. Barry Battlegoon says, if I can ask for recommendations, can you suggest a story for me to understand why Cheetah is an arch enemy? Also, as for Wonder Woman and DC and money, I think DC ignores the profit she makes due to misogyny. That's part of it, because actually when the Wonder Woman movie came out, the 2017 movie, Dan DiDio was pissed off because he was concerned that she was going to upstage the male characters.
Yeah. First Cheetah, I recommend you read the Perez run. Perez did a really good job with Minerva, and then Cheetah, she dies in the Jimenez run, I believe. So then she's kind of non-existent for a couple of years, Then she comes back on the Rucka run at the very end of his run. Then you can also what Jared has out there, please read that. Like that's really, really great
read
stuff.
this. This is all you need to read to understand Wonder Woman. That is the god tier. That is the best Wonder Woman run of all time.
100%.
Yes, Cersei loves Diana in a creepy way. That it should do a story about them having a girls' night out, exploring friendship.
Respectfully, I'm gonna stop you there because like Cersei is like
she doesn't love Diana. No,
and also the Cersei has known like Cersei's a lot older than Diana. Diana's like she's very young. Like now, especially with this DCU. Now
Thank
you. She's in her 20s or 30s. So like Cersei, she's like thousands of years old. She's old. She's old as Hippolyta.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, no, I'm not down. I'm not down with that.
No, ma'am.
It's like I'm fine with Diana teaming up with female characters though, because that's something that they need to do more of.
Or if they do like a Cersei redemption arc, I'm 100% down with that. She tries to like redeem herself, or like
they did with Ares.
Yeah, but like again, I'm tired of the redemption stuff. Like let people be evil.
I know, it's just these right. That's the part that really annoys me. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, these people were villains for the longest time. Stop trying to redeem people. Can't people just be evil?
Oh.
Speaking of Wonder Woman, I'm wondering, how would you guys do if you were in charge? Oh my God.
Oh, there's so many.
Right, an actual Wonder Woman event that's not Amazon's attack sequel or anything but its own story. The Greek gods invade the DC universe and go to war with the Justice League. That's what I would do.
That's a good one. Or I would have where Themyscira is like, they've done this story a billion times, but Themyscira is wiped out or like near extinction. But I, for real, would keep it canon that Themyscira is like under like genocide or something, or like they only have a few survivors left, and their island is destroyed, and Diana has to make a tough choice right now. What is she doing?
So you're telling me you want us to make Shelter of the Storm an actual comic?
Yeah, basically, because no one makes that compelling. It's always like, oh, and if they do that, they'll throw Superman under the bus, and they'll have Dead Earth and have Diana rip up Superman and wear his bones, which is weird.
But Balagoon brings up a good point. It's the ultimate insult when DC tries to make Harley more popular than Wonder Woman. Yeah, exactly. Because here's the funny part. When people try, like, after the first Suicide Squad movie came out, and that was not like what I'm about to say is not the tone that the original cut has, but the theatrical cut, people were saying that Joker and Harley Quinn were couples goals, Jid.
Ew.
And I go, no. And also, you can't make Harley a hero because she has killed children.
Personally, I feel like Harley should have just been a BTAS like OC and just been kept it out there, because after she left, or after she's been adopted out of BTS, it's just been a hot mess.
Are you telling me you don't like her various fart comics?
Oh God. Oh Lord.
I can't believe that was ever a thing.
And the fact that a woman is writing that is boggles my mind.
Yeah, I know, and they call Harley Quinn a feminist icon.
Yeah.
But well, at least the thing is, it could at least when Zaslav was talking about the four main pillars of DC, he said Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Supergirl. So I'm like, at least it's not Harley.
I have a problem with that though, because Supergirl, like, I love her, and like I will vouch for a pre-crisis Kara, because that is my girl. But how can you have like another Superman franchise character in that pillar? That, to me, the fourth pillar has always been Flash or Green Lantern.
Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern, if you want another girl.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Like, there should be, the fourth pillar this is very disrespectful to Flash, Aquaman, and Green Lantern, because they've held it down since the Golden Age.
It's not like Flash had a very popular show. It's definitely not like that.
It's not like Green Lantern has such a big impact on superheroes in general. Like, it's kind of like for Aquaman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. NJ says the Marstons' fault. Harley is getting more love than. Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to clarify this. As far as Kurt Busiek knows, as of 2005, that whole they have to publish comics is not in effect anymore. Yeah. And when it was in effect, it was just 4 comics. Jid and I did the research on this.
And I'm sorry, the Martians did the right thing by preventing Diana to be adapted in various adaptations, because if they were they allow Diana to be adapted in various adaptations, she would have been disrespected the hell out of. Like,
imagine Smallville Diana. I
if
think
it-
Smallville Diana, they would have made her like sleep around constantly.
Thank you. And the fact that the Justice League, like Wonder Woman, could only appear in the episode if she had a full episode to her name. If she was a cameo, it was blocked. She's not allowed to appear for 2 seconds. So all those like JLU episodes, like Wonder Woman, she played a big role in those episodes.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because if they didn't make that contract, DC could have just like canceled Wonder Woman and never brought her back.
Exactly.
So that's really before you blast the contract, now is it perfect? No, but think about what it allowed for.
Exactly.
And then Cameron says Harley is also very sexualized and not in a good or empowering way, because this happens in Injustice. You want to sleep with Shazam knowing he's 10. Yeah, when she's like holding up against the glass. And I go, there's a lot of reasons why Injustice sucks. And then Balgan says, I think the fourth pillar being Supergirl due to Mark Waid. I like some of his work, but in my opinion, he is, in my opinion, sex against powerful women and only writes men well. He wants Supergirl as a fourth due to Clark.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that.
I would say so, particularly with the way he writes Cheetah and all that stuff. I'm like, oh God. Well, like where he goes, Cheetah's not capable of this. She's a smart, intelligent person. Have you ever heard of Barbara Minerva?
Right.
Speaking of Tom King, that reminds me of now that he's written Green Lantern, that live action, how badly do you guys think he's going to screw it up? A lot, considering the fact that it's being billed as Tom King's version of Green Lantern.
Hold on.
Even based on a comic.
Didn't he come up with that image of like Hal Jordan with a gun to his head?
Okay, he didn't just come up with the image. That was in his Batman run, and Hal Jordan actually shot himself in the head.
Sorry. That's not funny.
And it was just in the beginning. Here's the scene. So Green Lantern shows up and he goes, they tell me that we can't use these rings to harm ourselves, but I bet with enough willpower, I can. Boom. And then he also had Hal Jordan during Heroes in Crisis go, what even is willpower? And then when challenged on this, he tried to say he was trying to be philosophical with it. And I go, dude, just admit you're stupid. Just admit it. What the heck happened about Harley and Blaze Shazam? I don't know. That's just
don't want to know either.
That's just injustice. I just hope the contract will be resolved soon so we can get much more Wonder Woman content. It probably will be.
So about this, so in terms of movies and adaptations, that's no longer a thing. In 2010, it was outruled, so that's why she was allowed to appear as a side character and she could be cameoed here and there, which is why in the 2010s we got like the Young Justice Wonder Woman, because she was not in the Young Justice at all until season 2 or season 3. And then we also got the Bugs Bunny, like Lola something, and she was in it. And the Scooby-Doo like Wonder Woman appeared on it, and it was just so weird because it's kind of like she was like calling Scooby-Doo and kissing him and calling him a hero. And in my head, like it's cute, but like it's also disrespectful. It's kind of like, what the hell, like.
Yeah, but I love that Space Jam clip where they're playing the Gal Gadot theme as like Lola Bunny is going through the whole chorus. I'm like, okay, that's funny. I like that. Another bad thing that's been popular is that Diana's being mostly brutal. Yeah, I know. Or will always sleep with Clark when he goes evil. I blame Injustice for that. Again, when you guys realize the second and third order like effects that damn storyline has had on DC, it is the harbinger of frickin' doom. And I do not understand why did he wrote that, and why would anyone want that with Shazam and Harley Quinn? Because Tom Taylor is a perv, maybe? I don't know, maybe I don't know. It never ceases. Whenever I think that DC has done enough to surprise me, they always do something else. It's like
Injustice in general is just a disgusting book. Like it's literally the whole premise of it is just gross.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just like if Superman is that close to being a psychopath that if Lois dies, he just turns into a dictator. Go ahead.
And he has no common sense that like that's Lois that he's killing or something like that. Like he's that like brainwashed. I hate those stories where he's brainwashed to death.
What happened was he was exposed to Scarecrow's fear toxin and thought he was seeing Doomsday.
Yeah, and then Doomsday was Lois, and that makes no sense. Like you should, I don't know, like if you have the so-called love for Lois, okay, don't gag. But if he does have this like so-called love for her, why can't he tell that's not Lois?
Don't say that shit.
Are you an idiot, Clark?
Yes, he is. Balgoon says, I think Tom King just writes himself as a traumatized man hurting powerful people to make himself feel better in his CIA traumas, even when Diana seems like it. Yeah, exactly. Because there's like Ares being killed because he was crying about all the bad stuff he did as the god of war. And I go, he thinks that's Tom King's self-insertion. What problems do you have with Tom King's run on Wonder Woman? It's probably the fact that it's not about Wonder Woman. It's about Steve Trevor. It's really a Steve Trevor run when you think about it. And Diana acts wholly out of character because she lost Steve Trevor. Like Diana has lost people close to her before, and she's never acted like Injustice Wonder Woman.
Her mom, hello.
Yeah, methinks. So Tom King said that one of his influences is Wonder Woman 1984, which that explains the Steve Trevor stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if he just picked up Injustice Wonder Woman.
And also, like, we're not against Diana being a mom. Like, okay, no. I personally don't want her to be a mom for my own personal reasons. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you know, people have children. It's just the way that she's having this child that's so gross to Wonder Woman.
Yeah, when it's motivated by a man, and then Tom King has the nerve to talk about the feminist origins of like the Clay origin, and I go, bro, you have no idea what you're talking about. Just shut up.
She's making this baby because of Steve. Like, she's not making this baby because of herself. She's not like, I want to uphold my mom's legacy, or I want to, you know, I want something in my life because, you know, I'm lonely or something like that. Nothing. It's just like, oh, I'm doing this because of Steve.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, that's why I say if I were Wonder Woman, I would make it where Trinity is just the embodiment of her like grief, and when she finally moves on from her grief, Trinity vanishes. That's what you do, because that way you still have, there was a purpose for Trinity existing, and that way you can decanonize every single like Trinity version. NJ says Tom King, Tom Taylor, Mark Waid, Jeff Johns, Mark Millar, Azzarello, and Rosenberg should be banned from writing Wonder Woman. Okay, Tom King and Tom Taylor I agree with.
Mark Waid, no.
Mark Waid can write her when he actually applies himself. Jeff Johns, see, here's the...
I'll give him a pass.
Johns has, see, here's the thing. Johns has the capacity to write her well, as in the case of like New 52 Justice League up until that one panel that everyone talks about. But it's like the rest of it, I'm like, Mark Millar,
hell no.
If he thought that was a joke, yeah. Azzarello, that run is actually a little overhated, and if you take it as an Elseworlds Wonder Woman book, which I do, it's actually not that bad.
We need to. I feel like people need to reread that run, because Azzarello's Wonder Woman is not all that bad.
It's not. Yeah. It's like I got the omnibus for Christmas, and I was reading through it, and I go, why do people hate this?
I have a very controversial person that I won't name them because, you know, but I have one person who I'll never want to see on Wonder Woman again. And, you know, Brea and Jared all know this, and how I detest that person.
Yeah, exactly. And then Rosenberg, I think people are thinking of the Who is Wonder Woman storyline, which I'm like, okay, fair enough. You know what I will give you in just the animated movie one. Yeah, they made Diana actually turn against Clark, and I'm like, again, that's why I say the Injustice animated movie is way better than the comic, because at least everyone acts consistently. I'm like, oh, okay, this actually works. Wonder Woman in this volume worries more about America. Yeah, the minute she's hit with the American flag, and she's worried more about the American flag. She doesn't want to touch the ground, but I'm like, bro, you had her crying on the ground with the American flag when Steve died. Like, did you forget what you wrote? Yes, the answer is yes, by the way. I just want to be clear on that. But it's astounding. When has Waid written Wonder Woman well? Supposedly Kingdom Come. Or like so there was an issue of World's Finest that was like Batman and Superman's first adventure with Wonder Woman. That was pretty well done. So he does do that. But
wait, that Lagoon, can you give us an example of where that is? Because I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of an instance where he treats her that bad.
That bad or that good?
That bad, because like I really don't see her being treated badly. Like, if there's a comic you can point out to, or
The only time I ever saw people talk about how badly Mark Waid wrote her is in this recent storyline with Cheetah, and I go, yeah, but it's like when you look at the previous times he's written her, it's not been as bad.
Yeah,
It
and
hasn't been
also
the best, but it hasn't
yeah,
been bad.
and also Mark Waid was writing the JLA, and he wrote Hippolyta really well too.
Yeah,
Because Hippolyta
exactly.
was the Wonder Woman at one point, remember? So like, it's not all that
and
bad.
Mark Waid is also who I can thank for No Wonder Bat, because he's the one that wrote Tower of Babel, and when Wonder Woman voted to have Batman thrown off the Justice League.
Oh, Jared, don't. Okay, you know what? We're not gonna have this.
Oh, don't take this away from me on my own show, Jid. King said that he plagiarized Immortal Beloved, was feminist. Turtle Man been taken out his backside. Yeah, he is talking about it, because here's the thing with that storyline, it's like he ripped it off twice, not once, twice, and both times he did it poorly. And I go, bro, and it's legit like the story. So I go, bro, that's the thing about Tom King. He rips off other people's work and passes it off as his own. Battle Goon says, to be honest, I like Kingdom Come, but did not like Wonder Woman being portrayed as more. No, she wasn't more violent. She wasn't more violent in that storyline, which you have to understand in the context that she had lost everything. And when you look at it, up until like the prison break, she's like, yeah, she's all on with Superman rehabilitating people.
She was flawed, yes, but like that's the point. Like Kingdom Come is a flawed universe. Like everyone has lost their way, and I feel like people are misreading that when they go into it, because that's a very like effed up universe.
All I ask, reread Kingdom Come.
Yeah,
that's all.
And look at it with a different lens.
Yeah, just reread Kingdom Come, because at least I didn't read it that way. That could be just me.
Yeah.
Continuing from the other comment before I got cut off, it's just dumb because it drives me nuts, because Wonder Woman I know and love would never. Yeah, exactly. Timo says Grant Morrison turned out to be a very curious and interesting Wonder Woman writer in the 21st century. Oh, you mean the Earth One with the orgasm guns? That's such a Grant Morrison thing to do, but I'm like, why does that exist? And she says Mark Waid started the whole bloodlusting. She's not bloodlusting in Kingdom Come. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Please, everyone, just reread Kingdom Come. That's all I ask. Get the context before you start talking about this. Just reread that. Mark Waid wrote a story, Dear Diana, where he reduced her to only emotional support for other leaguers, mostly men, and made her weaker. For example, she could not fly. Really? I'd never heard of that story.
I'll read this. Oh, wait. Is this the 80th anniversary? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, okay. I see what you mean now. Okay, so yeah. I remember now, because I think this takes place in the past. Like, it's kind of like a pasta. She's with Barry, and I think she helps like Hal with something. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. But I wouldn't say that's like emotion. I think that's kind of who she is. Like, she's trying to like. I know. Okay, I know what you mean. Like, it is kind of messy, but at the same time, like, she's meant to be there for her friends. I think Mark Waid just wanted a JLA story. I get your point.
Exactly. And Battle Goon says, in Kingdom Come, I felt that the way they changed Diana to get her mission from the Amazons to spread peace instead of deciding herself felt weird. Apologies if I misunderstand Wade and Wonder Woman. No, because Kingdom Come is, she was stripped of her royal title because the world was so screwed up. Hippolyta thought she failed her job.
Yeah.
And if you watch the end of it, she got her title back because she, along with Clark, was able to, like, granted, it was messy as hell, but it essentially, like, it resolved itself. Let me put it to you that way. And then Tavia says, speaking of Wonder Woman, I still understand with this run don't get what King's objective with this run to destroy the character. No, because his objective was to make people think Diana's awesome, which, first off, we already think Diana's awesome. That's why I dedicate 2 podcasts to her. But it's like, he's doing it to a point where he's denigrating other characters to hold up Diana. And that's just how you make people hate Diana. That's what I'm convinced. I'm convinced he actually hates the character at this point. Timo asks, will you dedicate a podcast to Peter David later? Yeah, I definitely will this week for sure. I definitely will, because that man's a legend, and R.I.P.
Just breaks my heart, especially what Marvel has done to him. And and I heard like Marvel did not give him his royalties or whatever, and his family started a GoFundMe for him.
Yep.
It's just awful.
I'm sorry. Marvel is disgusting. NJ says Waid also made Diana punch. Okay, I will give NJ this. in this book, so Lex Luthor's dying. So Superman brings him to Themyscira to try out that aid. Diana is literally like, how could you bring that man here? And then she punches Clark and says, how could you care about Lex Luthor? The world trusts you. And I go, that is not in any way how Diana would act. Like, it is also the funny part is that Brian Hitch apparently gave Diana the ability to turn her head completely backwards. I go, what the hell is this?
Oh Lord,
that's a little creepy. But I'm not saying he's like the best Wonder Woman writer, though. Let me be clear. Kingdom Come Diana was presented like a frustrated mother who was lost with badass kids she didn't know how to get control of. That's the perfect way to summarize Kingdom Come. Wow. Yeah, wow. That actually works. I think King is oddly an insecure, misogynist man trying to write a secure, powerful woman, but he can't help but tear her down as he tries to make her seem cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, honestly, that's a great thing. Random Op Forest says King should be fired from writing more comics. See, here's the thing. I agree to a degree, but I don't think that'll ever happen. That's why the hashtag is King off Wonder Woman, because the realistic scenario is that he, as Jin and I talked about earlier, he leaves Wonder Woman sometime at the end of this year or next year. That's honestly a likelihood, but it's like getting fired from DC. He would have to do it would have to come out that he beats his wife in order for that to happen. And that's, chances are that's not going to happen. So it's like, unless he does something extremely egregious, there's no way he gets fired from DC. So I'm like, but it sounds, I still can't believe it. So it's kind of funny, Jin, is that the fact that his Wonder Woman run got nominated for an Eisner again, if it loses, we'll be able to call it the 2 times Eisner Award losing series. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. I'll refer to it like that all the time, particularly when I tag Tom King. I can go, hey, I'm really enjoying not reading your losing series. So there you go. I love being chaotic when it comes to Tom King. I see why you guys do it all the time. This is so much fun.
And it's so wild because no writer ever has this, like, takes these emotions out of us, unlike him.
So that's like, that's the thing. It's good that it was Tom King, because that massively helped the hashtag take off, because no one likes Tom King.
Yeah.
Tavia says, speaking of Tom King, I'm curious about something. Does he have frustration with his? That's the weird part, because he says he puts a lot of his own family into this, but I'm low. What about Diana punching her mother? Do you realize what that sounds like, brother? It sounds like he doesn't have a good family life. But NJ says, a team of Kelly Thompson and Matea De Luis on main Wonder Woman after Killings would be a dream. That would be God tier. That with that writer and that art, like, hang on, I'm gonna pull up some De Luis art real quick so we can see this, because that would be like God tier level art. It's because the thing about De Luis is that it literally all feels like a mythology movie in the best way. Okay, here we go. This is the art. This art in the mainline Wonder Woman book.
Oh wow!
Just imagine this. We could have this in the main book if only DC would actually learn from the absolute universe. Because I got news for you. This book continues to tell me that Kelly Thompson gets Wonder Woman. And I'm like, if there's one character that she gets, it's Diana. So I'm like, give her the keys to the kingdom. Or even at this point, and Jen, I know you're going to agree with me on this, bring back Raqqa.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Cheetah book is like essentially an audition to see if the fans will be.
Speaking of Raqqa, the Raqqa omnibus is out Tuesday.
I'm picking it up on Tuesday,
I'm
baby.
Ordering it. Yeah, y'all need to get it. Or like, if you haven't read the Raqqa run, like, his first run beats the second run. Like, that first run is impeccable.
The second run is not bad, but it's bad. It's bad. But the the post-crisis Raqqa run is God tier.
Yeah, good. Incredible.
Like, Balgan says, what villains outside Diana's rogues make sense for her to fight for thematically fitting stories? Outside of her rogues, that's an interesting question. you could have like
Oh, so like non-Diana villains. Is that what you're saying?
non-Diana
Okay.
villains, because that's a good question right there. Poison Ivy. So I'm thinking
A Silver
maybe
Banshee from Superman.
you could do that. You could do that. Maybe like Ocean Master.
Yeah.
Let's
Queen of
see.
Fables. Is Queen of Fables like a DC, like a Justice League villain? I can't remember.
I think so. Oh, I got it. Mongol.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's already fought Mongol before, so there's no reason why she can't do this. By the way, Timo says King ridicules overly talkative men who bring their opinions to the fore, as well as belittles women because of their hurt egos. This is a good example of Diana's original idea. The problem is that the hero shows his asshole so obsessively that the dialogue are of the same type. Yeah, exactly. How would you feel if Trinity was adapted to live action? She won't, so I don't have to worry about that. So here's the thing. At the very least, Trinity is hated enough, and DC knows she's hated enough that she's not going to get her own series outside of King's book, and she is definitely never going to get the animated John Kent treatment. The reason why John got an animated movie, because there were still people that liked John as a kid.
Yeah, they like the Super Sons, like his friendship with Damian and whatnot.
Yeah, that's it. That's why. Oh, Scarecrow. That's something.
Wait, we see something about Brainiac.
I thought Diana fighting Brainiac makes sense because they would go to collect Themyscira.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one. But Themyscira is an island, though, so it's not a planet, because Brainiac collects planets, right?
He collects cities of planets. So it's possible that they have had times where like he's collected multiple parts of a planet. So so he could do that because he wants to preserve like the technological advancements of the Amazons, maybe to study them and such.
Yeah.
Abu Muhammad says Livewire. Yep, that's one as well. Volcana.
Oh yeah.
Let's see what else. Maybe this. I'm trying to think of one that would really work for Diana. Bleeze from the Red Lanterns, maybe.
Oh yeah.
How would you kill Trinity in this story? Easy. Here's how you do it. That's the least amount of mess. I know Jid likes mess, but you know what? I'm gonna go with this. Here's how we do this. This takes place in the future with female dog Trinity. Are you ready? Darkseid shows up, blasts her with Omega beams, and wipes her out from the timeline.
Easy, simple.
That's what the Omega beams do. So that way you get rid of literally every version of Trinity in the timeline. That's it. You can even have it where she jumps in front of like John to save him from the Omega beams. That's it. You're done.
Because isn't Absolute Universe and the DC universe merging soon? So they could totally do that then.
Yes, they could. But I'm like, that's the way. Plus, this takes place in the future. So who knows? So Darkseid could be back by then. That's it. That's all you got to do. Can DC bring back Gateway City as part of her mythos? I feel like giving her a magical city and that Themyscira would help her as well. Yeah. That too. She does kind of need her own place as opposed to like Boston.
She doesn't have a consistent like city because they keep moving around. Like she's either in Washington, D.C., Boston, Gateway City, London, which is so weird. Like
they keep changing, which I'm like, that's kind of that. I'm like, that's the problem with Diana. They keep changing stuff about her instead of keeping it consistent, because that's how a character gets solidified, is that you keep these consistent like points, if you will.
I like the Boston idea because that's Harvard University and Julia's a professor out there. So like I like that idea for Boston.
One issue I think makes people hesitate with Diana is that she's seen as more linked to Themyscira than a place similar to where fans IRL live. Yeah, but again, the right writer can make that work.
Yeah.
Oh, parents.
And she's not really supposed to be relatable like that. Like, you know, a lot of these heroes are supposed to be relatable and whatnot, but like Diana's an ideal. Like like she sets the standard, like the way she brings her message across from Themyscira. So like having her be like humanized to a point where she has her own city and stuff like that, it gets muddy and messy.
Exactly. NJ's got a good one. Ra's al Ghul as a Wonder Woman villain.
They did that once with the Trinity book, and it was just gross. Remember?
Oh, you mean the Rebirth one?
No, the 2000 by Matt Wagner.
I've never read the Wagner Trinity.
Do not read that. Do not read that.
Do not. All right. Now you're making me want to read it, Jid. Now I crave the chaos because of you.
She was so weak in that book, and Ra's al Ghul was beating her up, and That's the same issue, same book where Batman kisses her in Themyscira and she beats him. It's weird.
It's worth it just see Batman get his ass kicked. Talia's not a villain, Tevia.
Yeah, Talia, she's misunderstood.
Yeah, she's not a villain. I think it could work if it got some magic and stuff that could work. Honestly, being relatable is kind of what killed Marvel's comics for me because DC is not centered around that. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you don't want to make everything too relatable because then why am I reading superhero comics?
Yeah,
I'm like
there's elements to make Diana relatable, like her relationship with young girls, or like Vanessa, like that makes her relatable. Like if you have a sister or whatnot.
Random Op 4 brings up a good point. Tom King's Wonder Woman is even more blindly patriotic than Captain America. That's the thing. Yeah. Because, like, Captain America, yeah, he's patriotic, but he's patriotic for what America can be, not necessarily what it is now. The way King writes Wonder Woman, she's patriotic for, first off, she shouldn't be patriotic for America, period. But second off, it's like he's taking she's dressed in like stars and stripes, and that means that she's patriotic. And I go, bro, that's not what that means. But then again, you actually have to read the Wonder Woman book to get that. Trinity will be pushed for the future, from the future to the present anyway, in order to fit her into youth teams when the authors cannot get into the old lines as young. Now, see, here's the thing. What they'll probably do if they keep Trinity is she'll be in like young adult books. But as far as being in the main continuity, I don't think she's going to last. What do you think, Jed?
No, Trinity's not lasting at all.
Yeah.
Like, no one has interest in her. Like, if you go on Twitter and social media, like it says immediate backlash. I've never seen immediate backlash for any single character. Like the way.
Here's the thing, and people that talk about those backups in any good light are just talking about because they want Super Sons content.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's not about her. So I'm like, bro, that's not gonna work. Why do you think the Super Sons are included in that Trinity book?
Because they're the sellers.
Yeah. Would a Wonder Boy work well for Diana? I asked because Superman has a Superboy and a Supergirl.
They have done Wonder Boy a billion times. Like they did, like Phil Jimenez did that with Trevor Barnes' nephew.
Oh, of course it's related to Trevor Barnes.
Yeah, and like to me, like I think that Wonder Woman can be a mentor. She's a role model for boys and girls. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, though, like I feel like it's mostly like the women who see themselves as Wonder Woman. Like that's kind of the point of Wonder Woman. So it's very important for young girls to see themselves and they become Wonder Women. Yeah, so like exactly. This whole thing with Wonder Boy, I get it, but it's not who she is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Wonder Woman is my favorite superhero. And last time I checked, I'm a dude, but it's like one of those things. Well, no, Hunter Prince was not a Wonder Boy. I don't think they called him Wonder Boy. I don't think they even gave him a superhero name.
No, and it was just Hunter Prince was just a tragic story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like when they try to make Diana R-worded by a dark force. And I go, so you're basically doing Star Wars now. Yeah, so Raish is creepy as hell. He wanted his daughter to bang Batman for his perfect heir. He probably wants to make babies with an immortal Amazon for a superpowered heir. That would be something. But one story I always wanted to see is Black Alice versus Wonder Woman to show Diana, even temporarily depowered, is more than her powers. Yeah, that is true as well, because what people forget about Diana is that she's also a trained Amazonian warrior, ignoring her powers. So it's like, that's not, even if you take away your powers, if you give her a sword and a shield, she's still going to kick your ass. So, and then Battlegoon says, I am a guy, and to be honest, I see myself more aspiring to be akin to Wonder Woman than Batman or Superman. Yeah, that's fair enough. That works. I mean, see, here's the thing. It's like, with me, it's like it's a mix between Superman and Wonder Woman, but just because it's like with Wonder Woman, it's more on the truth side. With Superman, it's more like being the example for people. But it's like yeah, that's the thing. You don't, like Jid said, you don't have to be like a woman in order to identify with Wonder Woman. So I'm like, there you go. That works.
Exactly.
That works. But it's like it's one of those things that if DC really weighed in on that, they could actually have a decent story, but they won't.
And also on this topic, Tom King made this like such a like a half-baked story with this boy who's dealing with cancer, and he's like, oh, he's crying to Diana. He's like, oh, and why do I like you and not Superman and Batman? Wow, wow, wow.
That's not exactly, because here's the thing.
So bad.
That's not a thing anymore.
That is so humiliating. It's like, is this 1971, or like, are you a boy doing the Linda Carter show? Because nowadays, no one gives an F.
Yeah, I think King had said on a podcast that he was a Wonder Woman fan since before it was cool to be a Wonder Woman fan. And I go, no.
Yeah.
Second off, that's definitely not a thing anymore. So I'm like, bro, what do you?
And also, like, Wonder Woman is not a hated figure. Like, if he comes to like pop stars, like, if he was a fan of, I don't know, like Miley Cyrus with her controversy, and he was saying that to Miley Cyrus, that makes a bigger impact than Wonder Woman. I'm sorry.
Well, also, here's the thing. Wonder Woman also put a target on that poor kid's like family dead when she was a fugitive, and she went to go see a kid. And I go, bro, you didn't think this through at all. Malcolm says, for me, I more relate to Wonder Woman's ambition, truth, caring for people, and big picture thinking. Superman, in contrast, feels like the ultimate nice guy who accepts the status quo. Superman does not always accept the status quo. I would encourage you to check out like Grant Morrison's Action Comics for that. But still, it's like I could see where you're going off of that, Battle Goom. Timo says, I wonder how long Trevor's death will last, because we know that sooner or later he will rise again. Man, you make it sound so cool, but it's really not. Alfred has been dead for at least 6 years, and it's likely to return soon. I'd say at least 5 to 10 years they keep him dead.
Should I share my Steve Trevor theory with everyone?
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, they're going to bring back Steve Trevor in a different man's body, and the man will have Steve Trevor's memories, and no one will know that it's Steve. AKA 1984. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. That sounds like something King would do, considering he was inspired by 1984. So I can't even hate on that.
He's predictable. He is so predictable. Like, that's totally going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
once you read enough Tom King books, you know exactly where his stories are going to go. So
it's like, yeah.
I'm like, it's like, I hate Diana being patriotic for she's patriotic for the country that's kidnapping and murdering her sister.
I know. Weird.
Like, what? She calls it this great country, and I go, Diana has never been patriotic for America in this current continuity. Like, no.
In the 40s, yeah, because like everyone was.
World War II, you kind of had to. But as soon as you got past that, like from the 60s and on, that wasn't cool anymore.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Tevia says, I'm curious about something. If Grant Morrison wrote Wonder Woman in the main universe, would they write a better Wonder Woman than King? Yes, but I'm not sure I want Grant Morrison to write Wonder Woman anymore.
What the Earth 1 story was just very, very weird and just very misogynistic.
The first volume was okay, but then it just...
Yeah. Also, Grant Morrison is the one who has Artemis and Diana in that.
When Artemis literally, he basically says that Artemis changed Diana's dad.
And then the Amazons shoot the Nazis with orgasm guns. What?
That's such a Grant Morrison idea. That's funny. Oh, God. Random Wonder Woman story idea, but bring back Dr. Domino as an actual threat that can see the domino effects of all of his actions. That could be kind of cool. But anyway, so let's wrap this up. This was a fun Q&A by JJheat. Thank you for joining me. You're always welcome, my brother. And so before we log off, I wanted to bring up, so we're doing the hashtag campaign, and remember the rules. Do not attack King. Do not attack the artist. Attack the work itself. That's it. And use the freaking hashtags that are going across the screen right now on everything that you post about Tom King's Wonder Woman. We need those numbers up. All right, real quick, our last comment. All I hope is that the next writer brings back Hippolyta and Julia back. Her supporting cast needs to get stronger than ever. That's true. That is very true. Thanks so much for the chat. Yeah, come again, and we do these every Sunday. Anyway, stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Steve Trevor, Steve Never. He belongs 12 feet in the ground. Yes, I changed that. Zois and Max Sabat for life. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.